The scene starts inside a school campus during daytime, where everything looks normal and quiet. Suddenly, a girl nervously steps forward and openly confesses her feelings to a boy. As this happens, students around them begin whispering, already labeling him as someone who easily attracts girls. Instead of reacting emotionally, the boy responds in a cold and straightforward way. He makes it clear that relationships are not something he's interested in at the moment. Hearing this, the girl becomes desperate and shouts his name, asking him not to walk away yet. She demands an explanation and asks what kind of girl he would ever like. The boy stops for a second, thinking carefully. Turning around with a smile, he replies that he likes really bad girls, leaving the girl confused. He shouts that there is no point in her trying to become one because it will only make him despise her more. The protagonist also says that he likes those who were born that way. His blunt words shock everyone nearby. The girl questions his manners and wonders how a student can talk like this in school. Right then, another girl steps into the scene. She has white hair and a strict aura, clearly upset after hearing the conversation. She reveals herself as a member of the disciplinary committee and immediately scolds the boy for crossing the line. The boy, looking completely drained, says he's tired of being dragged into pointless situations and just wants to leave. However, she doesn't let him go so easily. She points out that his attitude and language break school rules and damage the institution's image. Having no energy left to argue, the boy simply agrees to accept any punishment she decides, which only fuels her anger further. The girl who had confessed earlier tries to defend the boy, but the disciplinary committee member quickly shuts her down. She coldly tells her to forget everything he said and reflect on it later. The boy is left alone with his thoughts. Walking away, he reflects on why he avoids love. He believes romance wastes energy and creates unnecessary trouble. He admits that even people who live alone can still be shaken by emotions because feelings are real. However, he also accepts that he himself is far from normal. In his mind, he casually remarks that the strict committee girl will probably never experience a relationship. Those words strike her deeply. Her eyes narrow with anger as she watches him disappear from sight. Her friend hesitates and asks if she went too far this time. The girl quickly regains her composure and replies that enforcing rules is her responsibility, not a personal choice. Trying to change the topic, the friend brings up a strange rumor. She mentions an anonymous artist at school who secretly uploads scandalous comics online. The backgrounds in those drawings look suspiciously similar to the school itself. The committee girl lets out an awkward laugh and confidently says she'll deal with the culprit soon. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to a dark, quiet room. On a screen, an intense illustration is. The artwork shows a character trapped in a terrifying situation. Surprisingly, the artist behind the tablet is none other than the strict disciplinary committee girl herself. She carefully adjusts the details of the drawing, fixing the folds of clothing and refining the pose. She mutters to herself that the facial expression needs more emotion and the eyes should reflect curiosity mixed with fear. Nearby, her bed is messy, with her school uniform tossed aside along with the committee armband. Suddenly, a strange chill runs through her body, sparking fresh inspiration. She smiles faintly and continues drawing with renewed focus. Online, she is known as Bayan, a mysterious underground manga creator who has been gaining attention rapidly. Checking her page, she notices the comment section overflowing. Some readers praise her bold ideas, while others harshly criticize her work. Frustrated, she snaps, blaming the audience for constantly demanding darker and more extreme content. Just then, a notification pops up on her screen. It's a message from her editor. As she reads it, her expression freezes. Her manga has dropped to the bottom of the popularity rankings. Panic sets in as she realizes this could lead to cancellation. Scrolling through negative feedback, she wonders if this backlash is the reason her work is failing. After a moment of silence, her eyes harden with determination. She whispers that she has no choice left. Placing her fingers on the keyboard, she prepares to use a power she has kept hidden. The printer suddenly comes to life, producing pages covered in strange circular symbols. As someone born into a magical bloodline, Harris Bannon decides to perform a forbidden ritual. To complete it, she needs a summoning circle and blood to seal the contract. Calmly, she spreads the printed symbols across the floor, preparing to call forth the most dangerous existence imaginable. She carefully spreads the printed symbols across the floor, silently hoping that whatever answers her call won't be too terrifying. Taking a deep breath, she kneels down and begins chanting. As soon as the words leave her mouth, a strange purple glow slowly spreads from the circles beneath her feet. The air grows heavy. Nervous but focused, she bites her finger and lets a drop of blood fall onto the symbols. Using the power passed down through her family, she continues reciting the spell with a sharp, serious expression. With one final shout, the entire summoning circle explodes with blinding purple light. Shocked that the ritual actually worked, the young witch stares as something starts emerging from the portal. For a moment, she panics, wondering if she accidentally summoned some horrifying tentacled creature. In her imagination, she pictures a massive monster straight out of a nightmare. Even so, she refuses to cancel the ritual. She convinces herself that no matter what appears, she'll use its power to break past her limits. Clenching her fists, she swears that her manga will become irresistible, that once people read it, they won't be able to stop. But reality turns out to be far stranger than her imagination. Instead of a demon or beast, the one summoned is the boy from earlier, the same student, casually sitting there with a cup of noodles in his hands. Both of them freeze. They stare at each other in complete confusion, sitting inside the glowing magic circle with no idea what just happened. The purple light slowly fades, revealing the chaos of the girl's room. Sketches and unfinished drawings are scattered everywhere across the floor. The boy glances around, still holding his noodles, and then notices the drawings. Curious, he picks one up and studies it closely. A sly smile slowly appears on his face as the truth clicks into place. At that moment, he realizes he's uncovered a huge secret. The strict disciplinary committee girl standing in front of him is actually the mysterious underground manga artist whose popularity has been falling. Panicking, the girl lets out an awkward laugh and quickly claims that he must have summoned the wrong person by mistake. The boy calmly points toward the school uniform lying on her bed. Without missing a beat, she nervously explains that it's nothing more than a costume she uses for reference. Not convinced, the boy picks up a few scattered drawings that clearly resemble the school campus. She immediately argues back, saying that such designs are common and anyone could draw them. Her excuses come one after another, but none of them seem to work. Without bothering to argue further, the boy suddenly holds up her student ID card, clearly showing her name and photograph. Seeing this, her face turns pale. To make things worse, he casually comments on how chaotic her room is, clearly enjoying her embarrassment. Desperate, she lunges forward, trying to snatch the ID card from his hands, terrified that he'll look too closely at her photo. Inside her head, she panics, realizing how badly things have gone, especially since she accidentally summoned the very person she had clashed with earlier. Surprisingly, the boy remains unusually calm. He simply asks whether she really used magic to pull him into this place. His relaxed attitude makes her uneasy, and she suspiciously wonders why he isn't freaking out like a normal person would. With no escape left, she suddenly grabs a baseball bat from nearby, gripping it tightly as her mind races. Forcing an unsettling smile, she claims that it's fortunate she knows a small spell that can erase memories. Slowly, she steps closer, preparing to act. A drop of liquid splashes onto the floor, likely a result of... Suddenly, the girl trips and falls directly on top of him, leaving the boy to think that this situation is anything but normal. Blushing deeply, the girl complains about how this lucky pervert cliché still manages to happen today. She looks completely shocked and struggles to comprehend what just occurred. Unexpectedly, strange purple entities begin to sprout from the ground and surround her. Terrified, the young woman realizes they are tentacles and let out a scream, desperately asking what is happening. The boy also becomes entangled in these strange occurrences and remarks that since she has seen everything, there is no longer a secret to keep. Now standing tall with horns, the young man asks if these 10 tentacles have anything to do with her. In the girl's eyes, the reflection of a strange symbol appears, and she can barely whisper the word tentacles. Her reaction suddenly shifts to joy as she realizes he is the very monster she intended to summon. The boy looks bored, failing to understand her excited reaction. She takes advantage of being embraced by the tentacles to feel what they are truly like. The white-haired girl explains that he is unaware of why he transformed, and the young man confirms that these tentacles appeared out of nowhere, which is why he originally rejected her. He had hoped to start dating only after reaching college. He darkly imagines being locked in a zoo as a bizarre attraction, or worse, being dissected in a lab for scientific study. He fears being ostracized by society and losing any chance at a normal life. The girl shows him a drawing she made of him as a monster, but he pleads not to be treated like a guinea pig. She explains that his transformation is independent of her summoning ritual. When he asks if she is lying, she reprimands him for doubting her magic, explaining that he has been recognized by magic as a wicked evil, not of this world. The girl is thrilled to have found a perfect humanoid monster for her manga. With a sinister smile, she decides he will be the primary reference for her future work. The boy, now serious, tries to leave her room, saying they can talk another time. However, she stops him, revealing that he cannot go anywhere. Suddenly, unable to move, he asks what is happening. She holds him close and asks if he really thought summoning was that simple, explaining that a contract now binds them together. With a provocative look, the girl asks if he truly believed he could escape her so easily. As the boy questions her actions, she explains the nature of the contract that now binds them. She reveals that they have entered into a shared body and mind contract, meaning that whatever happens to her will be reflected upon him as well. To demonstrate her point, she touches one of his tentacles and stamps her foot firmly on the ground. She explains that their bodies are now perfectly synchronized. He will be forced to mirror her every move. Panicking, the young man begins to move uncontrollably against his will, shouting at her to stop. He attempts to threaten her by exposing her secret identity, but she immediately counters with blackmail. She notes that while they perform the same actions, the physical consequences vary between their two bodies. Continuing her provocation, she asks him to imagine the wonderful possibilities of this bond. With a triumphant smile, she snaps her fingers to provide a practical and embarrassing example. The sound of the snap echoes through the room, heightening the tension. Compelled by the contract, the boy repeats her movement, but in a humiliating manner. Feeling utterly defeated, as if his very soul is leaving his body, the young monster finally surrenders. The girl stares at him with an air of superiority, grunting in victory. However, a sudden flash of embarrassment crosses her face as she realizes the extent of what she just did. Though she wonders if she may have gone too far, she concludes that there is no turning back. With a burning determination in her eyes, she vows to become the world's top artist, willing to do anything to achieve her goal. She then points her finger as if preparing to cast another spell, leaving the boy wide-eyed and terrified of what comes next. He eventually gives in and allows her to proceed with her plan, though he advises that if she requires references, she should begin immediately. One of his tentacles moves toward the bed, and he asks in a state of confusion what their next course of action will be. Suddenly, she grows desperate and screams, insisting that she never asked for this to happen so soon. The boy provokes her, questioning why she is resisting now when she seemed so confident moments ago. Although he claims he feels nothing, the girl lets out a small scream as the tentacles make contact with her. She complains that she is unable to draw because her hands are pinned by his tentacles. Agreeing with her, the young monster releases her hands, much to her surprise. However, another tentacle suddenly seizes her foot, leading her to complain that this arrangement won't work either. Irritated, she shouts at him to stop playing around and to set her back on the ground immediately. Days later, her new drawings reveal that using herself as inspiration was a success. Reading the feedback, she notices that readers are praising the significantly improved texture of the tentacles. While her reviews have improved, she wonders why so few people are commenting, though one reader stands out for being overly complimentary. She recalls that it was a specific comment regarding her lack of experience with tentacles that prompted her to perform the summoning in the first place. Suddenly, she notices the boy nervously fiddling with his phone and demands to know what he is doing. The young man appears angry and seems to be struggling with the device. It is revealed that he was the author of that original comment and is now unable to delete it. Lying down, the girl suggests it is better for him to simply observe for the sake of capturing small details. She jokingly suggests buying him a doll, but he warns her about potential censorship if she continues that line of conversation. Suddenly, he presents a clipboard containing a manga draft he drew himself. He analyzes his own work with a grave expression while the girl anxiously awaits his verdict. With his horns glowing, he continues to review the draft with intense concentration. He lowers his head thoughtfully, making the girl even more nervous by the delay in his response. Returning to his human form, the young man explains that the tentacles will vanish as long as he remains calm. The girl fears he thinks the drawing is poor, but he offers a specific critique instead. He notes that while the art is high quality, the content is generic and lacks a compelling plot. Offended, the girl strikes the clipboard and yells at him not to underestimate the world of underground manga. He counters by arguing that readers are tired of boring works. They desire actual plot and character development rather than just fan service. With an intense gaze, he boldly declares that less fan service actually results in more fan service. Driven by her own logic, the girl realizes that the only way to craft a compelling plot is through direct observation. She points toward the boy and suggests a startling plan. He must date someone while she observes and draws them in secret. The young man is left utterly speechless by her proposal. Looking completely lost, he tries to explain that this isn't what he meant when he criticized her work. The girl, ignoring his protests, congratulates him on the opportunity to date beautiful girls, while he grumbles that she is the only one benefiting from this arrangement. Growing angry, the boy asks if she has forgotten that he literally transforms into a monster whenever he is around girls. He shouts that asking him to pursue girls is practically a death sentence. The girl feigns ignorance, and he begs her not to change the subject with that innocent expression. She reminds him that they are in this together. If he is exposed, she will be in trouble too. Gently touching his face, she continues her persuasion, leaving the boy flustered and embarrassed. She teases him, asking if he is really the type to get overwhelmed with just one girl nearby. With a triumphant smile, she declares that if he can handle it, there's no issue. He simply needs to win over girls at school to serve as her inspiration. As her final trump card, the little witch reveals that she possesses the power to break the curse that turns him into a monster. Stunned by this revelation, the young man asks if it's truly possible for him to become a normal human again. She confirms this, reminding him of the magic he has already witnessed. Boasting of her lineage from a family of wizards with a 1,000-year history, she seals the deal. He helps her with the manga, and she cures his condition. After a moment of silent reflection, the boy finally agrees to her eccentric plan. With a wicked, victorious grin, she celebrates the success of her scheme. Claiming there is no time to waste, she suddenly shoves him under the bed to begin their plan immediately. The boy is horrified, wondering if they are actually starting their mission from inside a box under the bed. He despairs, recalling having seen this exact cliché in various manga. The girl opens a briefcase and announces that the first step is selecting a target. As photos spill out, the boy realizes they are all students from their school. He notices these aren't standard student handbook photos. The little witch admits she made secret copies when the student council handled the files. Furious that she essentially stole the photos, which even include teachers, the boy listens as she insists they need a special target who seems impossible to conquer. Though the boy doubts anyone in school is that difficult to approach, the girl eventually finds her perfect solution. With a sparkle in her eye and a victorious smile, she presents a photo and gives him his first mission. Conquer Kuakimu is the chosen one, leaving the young man utterly stunned by the selection. He shouts in disbelief, convinced she must be joking because the task seems impossible. With a knowing smile, the girl responds that his shocked reaction was exactly what she anticipated. The little witch has set her sights on Chia Kim-chu, the most popular and desirable girl in the entire school. Chia is notorious for her disdain for men, often forcing them to walk laps around the school as a penalty for bothering her. She doesn't hesitate to put anyone in their place. The little witch confirms that Chia comes from an elite family and has absolutely no interest in boys. With a devious grin, the girl suggests a radical solution. Since their target prefers girls, the protagonist must become one. Overwhelmed by this absurd suggestion, the protagonist falls into a state of total panic, unable to believe the madness of the plan. As he tries to flee the situation, the girl restrains him, explaining that he will need to go undercover as a woman to win Chia's heart. She immediately begins drafting the boy's transformation on her clipboard. Moments later, the transformation is complete, and the boy is rendered as a beautiful young woman. He can hardly grasp that the plan has taken such an extreme turn so quickly. Under the new identity of Xiaozhang, his mission is to infiltrate the school and get close to his target. As he walks through the courtyard, the other students can't help but notice the new girl, commenting on her striking beauty. Feeling deeply uncomfortable, he adjusts his skirt. The girl who had confessed to him earlier watches him closely, feeling a strange sense of familiarity. When she suddenly calls out to him, our disguised hero nearly screams in terror. Flushed with embarrassment and breaking into a cold sweat, he tries to ignore her approach. She insists he looks familiar, but he nervously denies ever meeting her. Her friend intervenes, pulling her away and apologizing for the bother, even scolding her for hitting on a girl so soon after being rejected by a boy the previous day. Just as he looks for a place to hide, a luxury car pulls up in front of the students. Two girls shout excitedly that their older sister has arrived. Our undercover hero stands there, bewildered by the term big sister and unable to comprehend the sudden surge of excitement among the students. An individual dressed in a sharp suit with short hair steps out of the vehicle and respectfully addresses someone as Miss. The young lady then emerges from the luxury car, showcasing her long legs and exceptionally chic high heels. With a stoic expression and an enviable level of beauty, she finally reveals herself to the crowd. Accompanied by her assistant, she walks with an incredibly imposing and intimidating presence that commands attention. While the other students scream in admiration, our hero can't help but feel that the school has been transformed into a literal fashion catwalk. It is in this moment that the disguised young man realizes the person before him is Kia Kingshu, his very first target. Overwhelmed by her powerful aura, he feels deeply intimidated and has no idea how he will ever manage to strike up a conversation with her. So it turns out our little witch has put our hero in a massive fix just for her manga inspiration. But the real question is, do you think winning over the impossible Kia Kingshu will be that easy? What are your theories on what happens next? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to see the next part of this crazy mission, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. You definitely don't want to miss the next chapter.